Countdown by Ben Mikaelsen. Chapter 7, Elliot. During orientation, Elliot and Mandy flew from coast to coast, touring NASA's facilities. They wore blue jumpsuits everywhere. Mandy always wore bright white socks. "Don't you have any other color socks?" Elliot asked, as they were shaking hands at NASA's headquarters in Washington, D.C. "I wear white for good luck," she said. "That's silly," Elliot said. At that moment, a guide met them. She stared at Elliot and Mandy very seriously as she began her talk. "Let me put things in perspective. Energy churned out by the sun has always been the main cause of change on Earth." She raised her hand as if preparing to cast a spell, but no more. She pointed around. "Man is breeding and multiplying like pack rats. Feeding, clothing, and housing these billions of new people is changing our planet more than any sun." She paused awkwardly, her eyes intense. "Earth is a spaceship, hurtling through space. We cannot leave Earth when it fills up or becomes a garbage heap." Her voice sounded sad. "People take better care of their cars than they do their planet. Your mission will help us learn how to care for the spaceship we call home. Do you understand?" Both Elliot and Mandy nodded hesitantly. After a tour of NASA's headquarters, they flew to the Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland. From Maryland, they flew to the Langley Research Center in Virginia. The man leading that tour was a real brain. "This is NASA's oldest center," he announced. After that, he might as well have spoken a different language. Without taking breaths, he droned on with information like, Major technical areas here at Langley are theoretical and experimental dynamics, materials and structures, space mechanics, and advanced hypersonic engine research." "This guy's a robot," Elliot whispered to Mandy. "Who programmed him?" She covered a giggle with her hand. After a night at Langley, they flew to Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. They watched a small test rocket fired into the upper atmosphere. "If you'd been here last week," said the guide, "you could have watched a 4-stage Scout." "That's one of their rockets that goes into orbit," Mandy whispered. "I know that, Einstein," Elliot answered. After a night in Virginia, they flew to the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi. Under blustery skies, they watched the test firing of a space shuttle main engine on a gigantic concrete test pad. Elliot grinned as he watched the blinding flames and steam. The roar echoed louder than any thunder. As the firing ended, a drizzling rain fell. The guide held his hands up to the rain. "This is because of the test firing." "I don't understand," Elliot said. "Hydrogen and oxygen cause water vapor," Mandy whispered. "I was talking to the guide," Elliot snapped. He was getting tired of this know-it-all girl with thick white socks. "I was just trying to help," Mandy blurted. The guide looked at them. "Is there a problem?" "Not with me," said Elliot. Mandy turned away. After stopping at the Lewis Research Center in Ohio, they flew on to the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, where they saw a mock-up of the space lab that fit into the orbiter's cargo bay. They also watched scuba divers help astronauts simulate zero gravity in a huge water tank. The last stop on the East Coast was at the nation's first spaceport, the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Elliot had never seen anything in his life like the vehicle assembly building. It was a massive, 500-foot tall box, so high that sometimes clouds formed inside and caused rain. It covered as many acres as a small hayfield. The guide said that VAB could hold 3 Empire State Buildings. On the launch pad, the space shuttle Atlantis stood poised for blastoff. Mosquitoes from the marshes nearby swarmed as thick as dust. The guide pointed at the towering white bullet-shaped rockets on each side of the orbiter. Those are the solid rocket boosters, or SRBs, the world's largest bottle rockets, she said. They're as tall as the Statue of Liberty and weigh 3 times as much. They cause the blinding flame and thick white smoke during takeoff. She handed them bricks of rubbery material. This propellant is mixed in huge 600-gallon bowls and poured directly into the SRBs, big metal casings to cure. Like baking a huge cake, Mandy said. Ignoring her comment, Elliot swatted at mosquitoes. The guide pointed up. When those SRBs ignite, you feel like you've been rear-ended at a stop sign by a dump truck. The guide smiled at Elliot. Still want to go? Cautiously, Elliot nodded. The guide continued. The orbiter has its own engines that also help boost it into orbit. During climb-out, they generate more power than 23 Hoover dams. She pointed to the large, rusty-looking tank attached to the SRB. That's the orbiter's external tank. Fuel flow from the tank to the orbiter during climb-out would empty a swimming pool in 25 seconds. Does the shuttle use regular gas? Elliot asked. The guide shook her head. It needs something with a bit more kick. Mandy glanced at Elliot and said, That's why it rained during the last test firing. The tank is filled with hydrogen and oxygen. That's right, said the guide. The fuel would freeze your hand if you touched it. Elliot glared at Mandy. Back at the ranch, he could show this know-it-all brain 100 things she didn't know. She didn't know how to help pull a calf at birth, or call in a boogling elk in the rut. How many bum lambs had she saved? How many sick critters had she sat with all night in the barn? And yet, here in Florida, she made him feel like a dunce. The guide pointed. That orbiter is big enough to carry a school bus into space. It operates as a booster at launch, as a spacecraft in orbit, and finally as an airplane or on landing. It's 100 times more complex than any airliner. Elliot had always imagined the shuttle as just a big plane of sorts. Standing here, he realized he'd be riding a small skyscraper into space. And this skyscraper could easily blow up, just like the shuttle Challenger. An invisible hand squeezed at Elliot's chest. To finish the tour, they flew to California and visited the Dryden Flight Research Center at Edwards Air Force Base, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, and the Ames Research Center at Moffett Field. At Ames, Elliot met the team that would run medical tests on him. The week-long whirlwind tour ended near dusk back at Ellington Field near the Johnson Space Center in Texas. Elliot yawned hard. He hadn't been this tired since staying up all night with sick calves. Leaving the jet, Mr. Boslow turned to them. Well, kids, now the work begins. End of Elliot.